So go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Boy, I'm not sure where to start. I had all kinds of ideas that popped in. Well, let me ask you this. I had a question. So in this art class you were taking,
Hmm.
they asked you to pose nude.
Hmm.
You refused, but then did they kept persisting? Was it the class got involved? Did they what happened? Like I'm trying to figure out what it looked like. I'm just trying to imagine
But
how
it's kind of
they
hard.
were.
Mhm.
Okay, you know what? We
No,
don't
I
have to.
can answer. I'll answer the question.
Okay.
Um, so basically, it was the instructor who was asking
Was
repeatedly,
it in front of the class or was it in person?
both, but mostly in front of the class. After class, calling my name, asking me to post nude. And it wasn't just the instructor. There was a whole system. The counselor who put me in the class, the girls who came up to me and wanted to encourage me to be involved. She had a whole group of people that hung around because she did this stuff, who necessarily students, but they presented themselves as art aficionados, right? And so it was systemic. I got put in a class. I got put in another class actually, where it was supposed to be the firefighting nude men calendar. So they were making money apparently, but it was a systematic pressure that was applied, by staff. Staff was involved, and also, you know, some students recruited, involved, maybe including my ex-girlfriend, but all the details are kind of foggy. But that's basically what it was, repeated asking. And the thing I remember being repeatedly asking, then because I had to drop out of school at that time for other personal reasons, I specifically remember saying, "Oh, you're dropping out because I asked you to pose nude right there in front of the class," And so that's how that went down.
That's wrong. Is it's very presumptuous. It's very humiliating to take such a personal thing and put it in front of the class. So she
Yeah.
was wrong there to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I mean, it's okay to ask. I mean, you can refuse,
Right.
and so it should just end there. So I don't. So I'm not sure why persisting what was going on there, what kind of dynamic. Why they just didn't ask the next guy in the class unless you were the only few men in the class, which could be the case. I don't know.
They don't want any man. They don't want just any man. They're making a calendar. They're selling it to gay men in West Hollywood. They're targeting men. They want particular men, not just any guy in the class. Any guy won't do. So, what comments you have? I can't hear you now if you're talking.
Can you hear me now?
I can now. Yes.
Okay. All right. Um, well, okay. So men and women are very different in terms of their sexuality, what's attractive and what's not attractive. It's evolutionary based. I'm very sure of it. And I mean, women take a risk when they have sex that they might get pregnant, right? And so, will the guy stay? Will he not? That's like a big question. So women are very careful about who they approach, and women they're looking for someone that is going to be reliable and also but they're also looking for strong men that are strong in some way. It could be a very crude way. It could be a very uh like the the uh the jerk. The jerk doesn't care who he offends. There's something kind of attractive about him, in that he's a force of nature. He doesn't care, and but and so women are like, well, I can work with that, and that's kind of attractive because if he doesn't care, he can maybe and fight fight for me and fight to protect me. I just need to sort of hone him a little bit into be um, a more, let's say, moral person that's going to protect the family and protect our whatever family we create. So women need space. Women need, and it kind of depends on the woman, how much space she needs, how much she needs, and how much she doesn't. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that sort of things that attract women. Like money's attractive. Why? Because a guy made it and he knows how to get it, right? And so he's able to provide. So he's as a provider, right? But it also may imply that he's kind of powerful in some ways. Well, that's very attractive because then he's an influencer. He can influence things. She can feel safe that they're going to work together to be on the sort of an upper scale, like maybe move up socially on the scale. Because when you move up in a hierarchy, you tend to be more protected. And so women are they are basically looking for protection for themselves, even for childbirth. A woman's not going to give birth if she doesn't feel safe, in an environment. My wife does home births. My son was born. Home birth, midwifery, or when women want to give birth at home, it's because they feel safer at home. Now, some women don't feel that way. They feel safer in a hospital because they feel like doctors are better experts. It's not necessarily true, but they feel that, so they will go there. Because a woman won't be able to give birth, she's going to. It has to do with physiology, and has to do with psychology, it has to do with emotionality. So, if a woman, especially when a woman goes into transition, which is about when she dilates to 7 or 8 centimeters, she goes into a thing called transition, which it's just a physiological. Her brain changes, things change in her mind about what's going on. And she's like, I need to focus and I need to feel like there's people around me, I'm protected. Usually other women. If there's other men there, she won't give birth. This is why male midwifery doesn't work, even though it's being pushed by other politically correct people. But anyways, I'm rambling now. So I'm just threw some things out there. Well, tell me what you think.
Well,
Anybody.
Yes, anybody raise their hand. Welcome those who've come late. But right now we're in a minute discussion about women who abuse men. We haven't gotten to the book yet, but I don't think we will, given it's 42 minutes after. But how long? What's the waiting period? What's the waiting period? We have to go through some waiting period, which seems to be part of it, that women need to feel comfortable, so forth and so on. What's the waiting period to have sex or to have sexual activities for a male stripper? It's the amount of time it takes for his pants to hit the floor. And so women are capable of casual sex. There's no doubt. It depends on the man. Which men are they willing to have casual sex with and which are they not? And, there's a lot of this story about women and their nature and how they need provision and protection, right? But this is over the top. This is not that, not in this society. Certainly it may come from a Neanderthal era type of ancient era sexual evolution. But if we think about it, most women don't need a man for money, and yet they still cannot countenance a man who makes less than them. And they will deny this, but it's true in many ways. And maybe some women will. I know my mother married a guy who made less than her, who had less than her, invited him to live in her home. But most women expect a man my age to have a home, to have a new car, and to have an actual house rather than a condo, and to be able to spend hundreds of dollars on events and stuff, not to really be on that tight of a budget. So that's sort of what these women expect. And so they're seeking to make profits off the relationship. I mean, this is not oh, I need protection, I need provisioning, this is, I want to make profit, I want to take advantage of and exploit, and I want to have my cake and eat it too, and I want to walk away whenever I'm done. So there's not really, it's not a parity between the need for protection and provision and the actual things that women are doing and demanding to take advantage of and exploit men for their money. Does that make
well,
sense?
women statistically tend to marry at their level, sociologically or hierarchically speaking, and up, and men tend to marry women at their level or below. So that's a real phenomenon statistically
Mhm.
true,
Yes,
and
but aren't
it
these
kind of makes
cultural
sense.
norms?
What's up, Brendan?
Aren't these cultural norms though? Like, for example, obviously African American, and
Right.
our communities, for the most part, a lot of women marry at their economic level or down.
Okay, what did you say there, Brendan? Most women in your community? Is
Yeah, yeah, marry at their economic level or underneath their economic level.
yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So in other words, it's more sisters that have degrees than there are brothers that have degrees.
yes, that's actually
So those
right.
sisters with the degrees, either they're not going to have a man, or they're going to have a man who's didn't have the same spending power that they have. You know, they
Right.
don't make as much money as they have. So this thing is divided into culture
Right.
more than it is just this.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's cultural. I think it's more biologically based. Women who are CEOs at the top of their professions in terms of, say, being a lawyer at a law firm tend to be single. The men at the top tend to be tend to be married and tend to have families. Women feel safer with the man that can be that kind of aggressive go-getter and provide for the home, even though he's away a lot. Now, not all women go with that and don't like it, and it puts a lot of hardships on the family because the guy's away for so long, and it sort of eats at the marriage. But women tend to that if you just reverse the roles, the woman's the go-getter and is the one that tends to go to the top of the organization in, let's just say, in corporate life or whatever, or in government, doesn't matter, tend to be single. And it's because they're spending their time not being able to help foster the relationships because they're so embedded in their career, but but statistically speaking, they tend to be very miserable in that. It's a very lonesome thing. A lot of women just drop out after that point. Like when they hit like 29 or 30, they're like, wait, what the hell am I doing? I'm single, I have no prospects, and I'm making a lot of money. That's great, but there's something more missing here. And so there's a lot of women who will chase that career and they have deep regrets when they figure it out too late that this is the thing that doesn't make them happy. Women love to foster relationships. Women are interested in other people. Men are interested in things. And therein lies the real difference between men and women. No, it's one of the differences, just like a lot of others. But I don't know. I'll throw that out there and let you guys chew it
So
up.
what I would say,
And ladies too.
yeah, in response to both of you, is that I understand, black men were obviously terribly oppressed, and they had low paying jobs if they could get a job at all. But Black women were always employable. Black women could always work in domestic service, and they did, right?
So
Is
my
that
mother wasn't domestic, right? But she made more money than both of her husbands,
right? Right.
right? And the second husband, he became a fireman.
Right. Right.
At the
So,
time
so
of their divorce, she was still making more money than him, though.
right, right. So, yeah. So this is modern times. So this is more modern times. Back in days of after slavery, post slavery, the black men were downtrodden, but women could work. Women could make money. So this sort of idea that black women will marry black men who don't make as much money, because there's this understanding, in a sense, that there's been oppression. Now, that's not going to always the case, and certainly there are a lot of black women out there who are trying to make a living off of men, and in one
Oh,
way or
yeah,
another.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I can see why in the black community there might not be as much. They've gone a little further than right now. Women are still in their hypergamous type of ways that they're unconscious about and not aware of, and so they can't marry somebody who makes less of them. So they can't marry anybody because they make more than most men, or so. And they're going to have to come to the realization, the reality, that regardless of what their hypergamy tells them to do, this is a system in which we are working towards equality, not one that we're working towards inequality. And so they're going to have to make some changes and recognize. And so that's where the consciousness and awareness building comes in. Hey, the guys don't make $100,000, first of all, and they don't make 100,000 at 20 years old. And young women need to recognize that if they want to go out with a guy who makes 100,000 or more, right? That they're going out with 30 and 40-year-olds, while young men have nobody. Young men are celibate. Young men have no affection, no love, because all the women are trying to hit the jackpot.
Mhm.
And so, but the main thing here is that women are going to have to come to a point where they recognize, and just like I have a girlfriend here, that one of my girlfriends here, who's older than me, has more than me, makes more than me. And the question is she inviting me into a real relationship when she doesn't want to introduce me to her family, when he has a separate life where she's single and available, where she can make, but she wants me to be exclusive with her. Of course, they all want you to be exclusive, but they all are still playing their hypergamy game. There's all still keeping an eye open, out there acting, in another life where she's single and available, So, by the way, don't give up exclusivity very easily, guys. Don't give that up, because it's the whole shebang, and you better get, so don't just jump into an exclusive relationship with the first woman who touches your wee-wee. So go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Men, if you want to attract women, first, learn how to be a force of nature. Learn how to assert yourself, learn how to break things, destroy things, and learn how to build things. Be a force of nature. Be a person who can be able to influence your world. Be a leader. Take a passionate stance on something, and then go after it with abandon. The only thing you're going to have to learn, once you've learned how to be a real force in nature, then learn how to temper it. Learn how to use that, because you can use that to truly destructive and evil ends. So learn how to blunt that force, or see your to put your sword away when you need to, and learn how to do good and hone your skills towards good. Take the leadership position. If you take the lead on something, women will make it very known. They like that. So do what you can on your side. Build up yourself. That's my advice for men. Women need to do it themselves too, but they have to do it on their own in the other term.
And that's good advice. That's good advice, Dan. I think, and one thing to recognize is that we can all do things to make ourselves more attractive to women, and we should, there are a lot of dating coaches on there. Lose some weight, go to the gym, exercise, take care of yourself, wear clothes that fit, wear nice clothes, um, you know, as best you can, do the best you can with what you've got. Now, there's this tendency out there to say, oh, so in the sexual marketplace, there's a 1%, just like in the regular marketplace. It's a capitalist system, and it serves the 1%. Hypergamy serves the rich. That it's women who might want on the day want to talk about equal rights and helping the poor and helping the animals, and in the evening they want to go screw the 1% and serve the 1%. So that's what's going on there. So this sexual marketplace, with that 1%, I forgot what I was going to say from there, but is just as exploitative as any other, and we need to do whatever we can to make ourselves better looking, so we can at least get into that top 20% where women will actually take a look at us. So yeah, we have to be very concerned about trying to improve ourselves. But the idea that somehow we're going to get all these women and everything's going to change for you if you are one of the one. Well, if you are one of the 1%, certainly everything's going to change for you. But if you're not, we still have to face this situation, and we still have a situation to deal with. I mean, this situation, dating situation, is bad, and the culture of prostitution, is really divisive. And we've got people out there saying men are dog, women saying, and men even agreeing with men are dogs, men are trash, men are garbage. So, so we need to stand up for ourselves in a way that's pro-feminist and also pro-women, not anti-women, but also stands up for ourselves and demands equal protection of the law, and not let, I'm just sick and tired of women hitting me up for money, of women trying to make a profit off of relations, women questioning me about my income, my job. I'm sick and tired of it. I knew at a young age that there are men women marry and men women like to have sex with and do. And I knew those two, and I became the one that they like to have sex with and never got married, And so that was my goal. It didn't happen all the time. I gained weight and but because I didn't want, because what the heck, married women just go out and screw somebody else anyway. So why get married? Anyway, and I wanted to say to Rose, your question here, I know that a lot of those classes, they do have, and they presented it like that. They had these classes where it talks about how respectful it is and how but that's not how this program really was, and it's the Truth and Democracy Coalition. I'm doing this myself, Rose. So we're just trying to reach out, sort of develop a different way of make this red pill stuff is important for men, and it shouldn't just be conservative men who get it. Liberal men can get it and still be liberal. In fact, I think the red pill was a liberal thing. It was, if you think of Austin Powers, he's not a conservative, but he was a red pill swinger. Swingers were liberals, So this red pill stuff doesn't necessarily have to be a conservative thing. And there's a lot of, but it is important information for men so that they can understand what women are truly like. And we all have to deal with the issues. I have a lot of negativity that comes up around it, and men get angry when they first learn about it. And it's hard for men to swallow the red pill, but it's important if men want to have relationships with women that are not exploitative. Does that sound right, Dan?
Well, I thought maybe you underplayed some of what I was saying. And in that I was saying that, like, if, you know, for men, it's not, you're not trying to be a force of nature in order to attract women. It's you're trying to be a force of nature and then learn how to temper it so you can be a good so that you can do good in the society and do good within your community and do good within your family and do good amongst your friends. And then from there, it's like the target is not to attract women. The target is just to be good, do the thing that you want to be good at or you're passionate at. Do those things. And if you get your life in order, if you're able to sort of carve a niche for yourself, women will be attracted to that. And you're not even really aiming at the thing. You're really not aiming at trying to attract women. Like, be someone in the community that people look up to. Be a leader. Be someone that takes the initiative on something. Because when you do that, that means you know how to influence your world. You know how to at least carve out a space for yourself. And when women see that, they know that, oh, maybe I can be a part of that and I can help with that. And help hone him in he's kind of a destructive. Young women tend to like men that are kind of, they can act like jerks. They can act, really arrogant or whatever, in the 20s or whatever. And it's like women are attracted because the guy has something, like he pushes, he's aggressive, he knows how to do. That's but if I could rein him in, this happened to my brother. My brother was out of control. My older brother, he was a tyrant. I in a family with three boys, I was the middle child, and my brother was a tyrant, and he was merciless until he met his future wife. His future wife, I couldn't believe. I fought him. My younger brother and I, he pit us between my younger brother and I. Sometimes my younger brother and I teamed up on him, but then he would like break that up and and give harsh punishments. And then he would try to manipulate one against the other. And it's and then he tried to do this against the parents until he met his future wife. His future wife was like, "You're not doing that." And he listened to her because he loved her. They loved each other very much. So women have a civilizing effect on men. And that's the precise role, I think, for women is that they can do great good, but you also have to be rooted in good. That takes a good upbringing. It takes good insight. And it's also, I don't know. This country, the only way within the context of a virtuous and moral society. Now, I'm not saying that we have a perfect past. What I'm saying is there was some Judeo-Christian roots that really help foster what it means to be good.
So, and I think you're right about that we need to focus on being men and doing good in the world and being leaders in our communities. And that's what my match profile talks about, being a leader in the community. And I think women are attracted to that, depending on what you're doing, of course. And so I think Dan's absolutely right about that. And that should be our focus, because our focus cannot be on chasing women. And as they say, if you're doing it right, women will chase you. And I find that to be the case. But yeah, and we have to focus on that, because basically, women are, don't put your life in the hands of a woman, you'll be disappointed. So try to do something good with your life, and the women will come. I put this sign in front of my bedroom, Temple of Love, in the hope that if you build it, they will come. So, yeah, that's good advice. Thank you, Dan. So we've run out of time. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Sign up for our next group. I'm gonna put those links back in the chat. Let's see if I still have them here. No, I don't. All right. So try and register at tinyurl.com/redpillmen, and also register for our group to hold a remembrance ceremony in Whittier on January 6th next year, our planning committee. And that's at tinyurl.com/Jan 6th, 2024. I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Dan, for being on the show and for sharing your insights with us. And thank you, everybody, for coming.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah, and thank you, everybody, for coming and participating in this.